Hello, everybody. I'm back. Hope everyone's doing well. I remember us making a promise regarding doing our Facebook live town hall event, and previously we had intended to basically stream our town hall event off of our Mina for Virginia Facebook page. But there's some people that was letting us know about them not being able to watch our live stream off of our uh, uh, Almena for Virginia Facebook page. So I thought I'll go ahead and try something different this time around. It's a little dark in this room just because we're trying to balance out the lighting from like natural light and the indoor lights, and thought I'd turn off the indoor lights to kind of just uh, give some a little bit of balance off of this lighting effect in here. So hi Samantha, good to see you. But yeah, so I thought I'd go ahead and try this out. If it doesn't work out for some of you guys, we're gonna try to switch back to our Facebook I'm sorry, the Almena for Virginia Facebook page. Anyway, there's quite a bit of things going on right now, not just in Virginia, but throughout the country as well as around the world. And I thought I'd kind of reflect a little bit of on some of the things that are happening with this coronavirus pandemic that's basically affecting everybody around the world. It's kind of hard to really make prediction in terms of how long it's going to last or how many people are going to be affected down the road. But you know, several years ago, I've written books on things that are kind of unforeseeable in terms of market disruptions and various global health pandemics that could happen just because of the transitioning of the world marketplace into the fourth industrial revolution. So basically, here are some of the books that I basically wrote about. It's called Barbecue Market. It talks about things to kind of pay attention to and expect off of the evolution of the marketplace. And so we're dealing with the natural transition um, with various countries and you know uh, movements of people basically in and out of various countries, and that's just gonna basically grow more, and it's gonna be more in terms of becoming more prevalent, especially now that the world is becoming more open and accessible basically all over the world. So think of it this way. In the 1990s, the violin looked like this. In the 1900s, very old-fashioned looking, you know, handiwork and basically made out of wood. In today's world, the transition off of that is making the world look like this, like an electric violin per se. And the reason is because there's new transitions and evolution of technology throughout various marketplaces. And the more people advance their um, capacity and basically test things out in experimenting, um, building new industries, developing capacity of the population, the do-it-yourself, community around the world off of what they watch on social media. Basically, they're learning, so the knowledge transfer among people groups around the world. And so I've gotten so very, fast to the point that people are learning simultaneously now off of each other. So that's just the nature of the world as we now know it. Back in the days when our parents and grandparents were growing up, they were aware of what's going on around the world off of various news, events and certain things that they read off a book, um, and what they hear from the local news or at some event, maybe international news, but they're not inundated with the world news and current events that are happening all over all over the world. Not like in our generation today, where everybody's aware of not just what's going on in your local community, but in outside of your state and even throughout the country. Um, and even around the world. So it's very different in terms of how we should be looking at where we are today in the world, and as a fairly new breed of human beings, I would say. It just we are now engaged in what they call the globalization of markets, which is not really a globalization, more of in terms of the opening up of various countries and becoming more accessible for people to learn from and basically, you know, develop capacity with. So that said, um, I thought I'd just kind of say hello. Hi, Stephanie. Um, Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys streaming Stacy's, homecoming. I'm very fortunate and I feel very honored to be able to watch the live stream for Stacy's homecoming. She's a very special person, and I would like to send my condolences to your family, and I hope that you would feel um, the warmth and the love of people all over the world and all over the country, uh, you know, for your family. Um, so I didn't really, I didn't, write stuff so much down to talk about because I just kind of want to experiment on this Facebook live stream off of my personal account. I just want to see if anybody have any questions, and so I can, have just like an open discussion with everyone. It's not really a formal town hall meeting per se. I'm a little sweaty because before I jump on this Facebook Live event, I was working outside and I'm a little, sweaty and winded. So, but with that said, feel free to ask questions. Um, I look forward to sharing this live stream with everyone again. I'm uh, pretty, I feel very fortunate to be able to share my platform with everyone, even if you don't live in the state of Virginia, just because I know that either you might know people that do live in the state of Virginia, or you're just kind of interested in what's going on throughout the world and throughout the country. So you decided to kind of check us out. But with this said, my name is Mina. I just want to reintroduce myself to those people that I've never met in person before. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, not as a politician. I'm running as a former, volunteer in the Peace Corps, which basically had served various communities. Prior to, Peace Corps, I was in Central Virginia, volunteering there as well with various NGOs and providing capacity development for the local regional chamber of commerce to help, kind of stimulate the local economy in Central Virginia. So I did. I was basically I was exposed to both Republican and Democratic Party growing up, all the way until I graduated from college, and soon after that I moved up to Washington D.C. and worked for various government contractors, um, and then a couple years later I decided to join the U.S. Peace Corps and was sent over to Eastern Europe in Romania, basically to help with capacity building with various economic engines throughout the country. So, on top of that, I also help with various NGOs, with um, community groups that service the less fortunate, the marginalized population of the Moldova region in Romania. So we would work with street children's, the gypsy population, and basically the community that are less served pertaining to their ability to support themselves. So that's what I did when I was in Romania, and then came back to the U.S. Had worked for the World Bank as a financial analyst consultant after my Peace Corps stint, and then uh, transitioned into the federal government. So, and when I was with the federal government, I was basically working as a financial analyst helping public housing authorities under the American Investment and Recovery Act project that was rolled out by the White House to help stimulate, local housing. I'm sorry, public housing community in the eastern seaboard. So yeah, that's my background. Um, I didn't really want to, participate so much in the political system in the U.S. to the point that I would want to run, but I realized that if I didn't try to, share my message and make a difference in uh, today's transition within the global marketplace, and also with getting Virginia connected to the rest of the world, then we're going to have a lot of issues in terms of uh, promoting our goods and services for overseas consumption. As you might not, I don't know if any of you guys are aware of this, but uh, about 95% of U.S. goods and services are actually consumed overseas. We, as a national market in the U.S., we ourselves do not consume majority of our productions. You know, most of our goods are exported abroad, and therefore we need to consider in terms of what would be our position down the road for new markets to sell our goods and services out to. And so that's why I decided to run. I think we need to be proactive on where we're going to be, developing our capacity down the road in terms of new technology and innovations in the fourth industrial revolution. And to some of you, I don't know if you're aware of the fourth industrial revolution. Basically, what that is the transition of human capacity and merging it with technology. So just like what we're doing now, we're using Facebook Live, artificial intelligence, and all these things that have been fairly new in terms of how the marketplace is generating new ways to evolve capacity. There's this thing called blockchain technology as well, 3D printing. A matter of fact, there are people now printing buildings with 3D materials, and they're printing them. They're not constructing them anymore, just like they did maybe 50 years ago, or maybe even 40 years ago. But today there are people now that are developing technology in order to be able to print houses and buildings off of computer technology and design. On top of that, automation. Some people uh, are kind of spooked by the word automation just because everybody's kind of talking about the elimination of jobs, and jobs being taken over by robots down the road. And matter of fact, we're never going to be able to be outsmart by technology as humans. They're going to be another tool that we can utilize in developing our marketplace. I think there's a big misconception nowadays where people are talking about, technology, um, taking our jobs, and us not being able to control and manage, technology. Matter, I don't think that's ever going to happen. My previous background when I was in college was computer science. That's my major, and uh, before even going to college, I was an electronic technician apprentice, and I'm familiar with the evolution of technology throughout the world and in the U.S. But I don't fear it because I know that technology will always need some sort of management. Either you know, one person or a group of people would have to manage it. So it's not about us losing work or productivity in terms of being transferred to robots or automation. It's more about how are we positioning ourselves to advance our capacity using these tools. You know, uh, my campaign is not really talking so much about politics. I've been exposed to politics. I've worked for politicians. I've advised politicians, but my priority is not about mudslinging or uh, pointing fingers, and basically blaming people. That's not my agenda. My agenda is to make sure that we have the capacity and the talent, the skill, and the opportunity to advance. We need to continue to become competitive as anywhere in the world. Every country is trying to raise each other to the top. They're building their capacity, and that's not a bad thing. The more that we build our capacity as a marketplace and as a community, as a society, the better off we're going to be down the road. For example, to be able to address issues like the coronavirus, changes that are happening in productivity around the world in terms of building new products and industries, and also improving our quality of life as humans, not just in wealthy countries, but all over the world. So that would eliminate poverty. That would eliminate a lot of these wars that are basically happening just because a lot of these populations abroad that are engaged in terrorism doesn't have anything in terms of a way for them to develop their marketplace. So that's the reason why we have all these problems in the past. The fourth industrial revolution is going to change that significantly. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. Because uh, people today are more interested in getting access to Wi-Fi signal and having access to a smartphone, for example, and things that previously we never really thought about. So think of it again as a violin, like what the violin that we were enjoying back in the 18th, 19th centuries. It looked like this. It's made out of wood, and it sounds really good. Everybody was pleased by the way that it sounds, right? And it looks nice. So for the longest time, people have gotten used to it, and they say, they've gotten so used to it to the point that every time they see a violin, they associate the violin to, things that would sound pleasurable. And at the same time, people would see a violin as a complicated instrument. Okay, and the same same type of analogy can be, um, you know, associated to the world, the evolution of the marketplace. And today, this is what a violin in the 2020 year looked like, right? It still sounds just like a regular violin if you connect it to the right, you know, um, technology platform. It doesn't look so much like the previous violin, but they sound exactly the same way. But the difference between this violin and this violin, for example, is that this violin you can make all sorts of sounds with it. Okay, it's lighter to carry. Okay, it's you can mass produce it without having to carve so much, you know, uh, intricate designs into the wood. So that's basically what's happening with the transition between the world as we know it back then, 20 or not even 20, if you say 15 years ago compared to today's advances, that's just exactly what we're having to deal with. We're going to transition into a world and into a marketplace that has so much opportunities and capacities and flexibility. Back in the day, when our parents were growing up, no one's have heard of teleworking. No one's have worked or no one's have heard of working from home using computers. Having business all over the world and building capacity online. None of that were available. And then people started um, paying attention to the evolution of the marketplace, and they got creative and said, okay, let's provide a solution for everyone to be able to utilize. And that's what we're doing with Face Economics. Our campaign is to help create opportunities worldwide and also bring those opportunities into the state of Virginia. So as a U.S. Senate candidate, that's my initiative. That's what I plan on doing, is to be able to utilize our platform, Face Economics, the use of social media, in order to build capacity in the state of Virginia, attract investment into the state, and hopefully, other state and other countries would copy what we're trying to accomplish. Just because uh, we have the tools now. We're playing off of an electric violin, if I can even say it that way, because we have those opportunities on our fingertips that weren't available in previous generations. No one even thought about it. So so that's where we're at this point. Um, I don't know how we're doing with time. I typically just do my town halls, within like 10 to 15 minutes. But if you guys have any questions, I'm available to answer them. And like I said earlier, I'm experimenting off of, broadcasting off of my personal Facebook page, rather than using my campaign Facebook town hall page. So we'll see how that turns out. If anybody else wants to kind of jump in on our Facebook Live events, they're welcome to do that wherever in the world they're located. Um, okay, so it's good to see Jennifer. Hi, how are you, Jennifer? It's good to see you. Um, so my name again is Mina. I'm running for the U.S. Senate. My background is somewhat, within politics per se, but it's not the background that I typically run off with. I use, what I've learned from both Democratic and Republican Party to advance Virginia and the United States in building capacity. So my passion is in economic development in the fourth industrial revolution, where I can utilize, technology and social media to help build capacity throughout the world, and also specifically in the state of Virginia, because that's the state that I'm looking to represent. But yeah, so that's where I'm at this point. Um, Thank you so much for joining in, and feel free to let me know if you have any suggestions for me to cover. Um, Again, my the last book that I've published is called Barbecue Markets, and this basically it's a watered down economic book that would help the regular person, to just kind of understand and appreciate the opportunities ahead of us and the things that are going to evolve within the marketplace, rather than fear it. Never ever fear the future. Find a way to create opportunities, and also think outside the box. Bring other people into the fold, and don't just limit yourself in terms of who you interact with. The best people to interact with are the ones that don't think, look, and act like you, because most of the time you're gonna learn from them more than you would from people that is so similar as you, that you basically just talk about things that you have in common all the time, and there's no, there is no evolution in terms of your game plan and understanding, and also capacity, when you're always in your comfort zone. So that's our platform. My name again is Mina. Please tell your friends about us. I've written books on the emerging markets, and what it's all about in terms of the fourth industrial revolution, and why it's important for us to incorporate technology and also utilize the previous advances that we've have gotten so accustomed to into merging it with technology and advancement of the marketplace. Because as I mentioned earlier, every country's advancing. It's not just uh, a gossip. It's not like people are just talking about it because it's a fad. It's actually happening. I travel in various parts of the world, and I see it happening right before my eyes. And my background is heavily in economic development. So, you know, please consider going to our website, which is www.almina. I'm sorry, alminaforvirginia.com. That's our website. It's www.alminaforvirginia.com. And also our Facebook page is Almina for Virginia on Facebook. Um, yeah, so it's good to see some friends, new friends and old friends actually, and people that I haven't met before. But I guess that's technology for you. You're going to be exposed to people that don't look, think, and act like you, and it's all about how you're basically going to kind of leverage that to work for your advantage. Make sure to always learn at least once a day and learn something new once a day, and continue to build your capacity. It's we now live in a what we call in economics a shared economy, and what that is you use your knowledge in order for other people to utilize it in helping build their capacity. So we're no longer in the old production world where people would produce so much of products, for example. Um, we are now in the knowledge economy where people are utilizing their brain capacity to build opportunities and build new interesting industries and solve lingering problems and future problems by utilizing technology and incorporating new ways to think and solve problems. So every one of you are basically becoming consultants in your respective capacity in whatever your core competency is, what you're good at, and basically run off with it. Use that to create opportunities for yourself and for others. So with this said, it's good to see you all again. We're gonna try to do this town hall, Facebook Live town hall event as much as we can. Uh, Granted, with what's currently going on with this coronavirus situation, but I'm foreseeing that we're probably going to be doing this quite regularly from here on out, maybe until the summertime. So tell your friends about us. Thank you so much for your support, and appreciate the time that you shared with me this evening. I hope you stay well, healthy. Don't stress too much. Don't let this coronavirus situation stress you out to the point that it kind of depletes your immune system, because you need a strong immune system to be able to fend it off, and kind of also make sure to recover from it if you were to have it. So um, be safe out there. Stay healthy. Uh, Listen to the local authorities in terms of social distancing and staying away from people that uh, kind of display some, problems with their health, and stay home. I guess that's the main point. Is just to stay home and be well, and you know take it day by day at this point. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to seeing you again on our next Facebook Live Town Hall event. My name is Al Mina. Thank you. Bye bye.